But maybe I'll post this one, we'll see. So let's start sitting in any position that's comfortable for you. We're just going to do a little bit of pranayama. So first, just settle into your sitting bones. We'll lift the shoulders up toward the ears. And on your exhale, roll them back and down so that your chest lifts a little bit. And again, inhale. You can do the extreme roll with the shoulders, or it could be smaller, but there's pretty much a constant rolling back. In Anusara, it's called shoulder loop, and you can visualize that up and back sort of sensation. It doesn't have to be visible to someone looking at you. You can just feel that spiral happening. And it will help lift the chest up. If you feel any strain or your knees are higher than your hip crease, just sit on something so that you can be a little more relaxed. Let's inhale for 8 seconds. Exhale for 8 seconds. Same thing again, inhale for 8. Exhale for 8. Let's inhale for 6 seconds. Exhale for 6. Inhale for 6. Exhale for 6. For 4 seconds, inhale. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Just 2 seconds. I won't be able to prompt you because it's too much talking. But just find that equality of inhale and exhale, making it 2 seconds each. Then 1 second each. Notice that you take in a smaller amount of air. And that would make you more still in the body. Your ribs are not expanding and contracting as much. Now let's try to do a full inhale, exhale for 1 second. So it's half a second per. And then try to fit in a little bit more. Maybe you can get in 2 breaths per second, or even 4 breaths per second. It will be the tiniest sip of air and push out of air. Imperceptible to the body, perhaps, in terms of movement throughout the ribs or the shoulders. If you can truly make the inhale and exhale equal, you could do this for a few minutes. If you feel yourself getting out of breath, it just means that you're doing more on the inhale or the exhale. And just pause, take a deep breath, regroup, and try it again. When you get to the point where you're doing 4 teeny little breaths per second, you might not even know if you're breathing or holding your breath. You might have to put your finger under your nostrils just to feel it. Let's just play with this for about another minute. This is one of my favorite pranayams because it really imitates death. We're so still in the body during this particular form of breathing. And let your breath return to normal. Reopen your eyes. And let's come to tabletop, hands and knees. Now at your pace, few little cat-cows here. This would be the extreme other end of how breath can affect the spine. You just tried your pranayama with no movement. It was a tiny little breath. And now we do big breath, big movement. If you have any wrist issues, just come down to the forearms. We're going to come to a neutral back and bring the knees together. Keeping the back neutral, let's extend the right leg out along the mat and try lifting it up to hip height without arching your back. Then return your toes down to the floor, belly in, and lift it up again. You'll wake up your hamstring pretty good. Just one more time like that. We lower the toes. It's easy to keep neutral back if the toes are down, but now lift the leg to hip height and try not to arch. Let's point the toes and draw a little circle back there somewhere. And try not to wiggle through your hips or shoulders. So you have to keep drawing your belly in. You could always put one hand on your belly if you're not sure if it's hanging out or not. Let's go the other direction with the circle. And it could be a big circle, but that would require more attention to the core and more strength there. So I'm keeping mine real small because the integrity is more important than the circle size. Okay, let's lower that right knee down. Just to reset, inhale, arch, and exhale, round. Find neutral, belly in, left toes slide back, and just 3 times we practice lifting the leg up and lowering it down without letting anything else change. I'm doing an exhale to lift because that's the hard part, but you can do either breath pattern that works for you. Let's keep the leg up and draw little circles. Things like this will help us in inversions with the control. Maybe then you can start getting up without falling over. Let's go the other way. And let's bring the knee down. Reset by inhaling to arch. And let's curl the toes for downward dog, exhale. And either stay with straight legs, press the heels down, or pedal your feet. And let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. Inhale when we get there, and exhale to fold. Inhale all the way up. Let's bring our hands to our hips. Keep the hips facing front, and just lift the left knee up toward your chest. Inhale, extend it back, warrior 3 style, exhale. 2 more times like that, inhale. So remember when you were in tabletop, you had a neutral spine when you had your leg extended back. So same thing here, we're not arching. One more time. So it's all that belly control, it just looks a little fancier here. Okay, the next time that you're extended in that warrior 3, big step back. Warrior 1, bend into that right leg to help you land gracefully. And we'll either lift the arms up, or you can keep your hands on your hips just to make sure your hips are still square. Either way, inhale, right leg straight. And exhale, right leg bends. And just 2 more like that. You're going to notice with your right leg straight, it's pretty easy to square your hips. So when you rebend your knee, you have to just work harder. Let's take 1 more. Good. And we'll lower the hands to the floor, or fingertips, let's do. Back foot forward, inhale, and fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale, and hands to the hips, exhale. Shift the weight to the left foot, right knee in. And when you're ready, extend it back. If your balance feels nuts, just bend your left leg. It will make your balance much easier. And your center of gravity will be lower. Keep the hips level, those front hip bones pointing down. The belly stays in. Easy to forget that when the leg is extended back. But bend into the left leg, step back, warrior one, either arms up or hands stay on the hips. Good. Next inhale, straighten the left leg. And exhale, bend the left leg. 2 more times. When your leg is straight, it's easy to have also the pubic bone lift up toward the belly button. Try to maintain that even when your leg is bent. Good. The next time that your left leg is bent, we'll lower the hands, step back, either vinyasa or downward dog. Then either step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. When you get there, inhale, and fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale, and hands to the hips again, exhale. Left leg will come up, inhale. This time into Ardha Chandrasana. So you're still using the belly, still neutral back. We just open it up. And we'll return to square hips, knee to the chest. Just 2 more like that. So you did this moments ago going into warrior 3. Now it's a little bit harder. But if you can go slow with that control and with the attention to the core muscles drawing in, you will make it. The next time you're in warrior 3, step back for warrior 2. Adjust your feet so the stance is big enough. And either arms out like normal warrior 2 or hands to the hips. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Make sure the hip bones are facing the long edge of the mat. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straight. And exhale, bend. Push the knee to the right. 1 more time. Fingertips will come down, back foot forward on the inhale. And fold, head towards shin bones, exhale. Knees could be straight or bent for that. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, hands to the hips. We try the other side, right knee comes in. So it's like a little ab crunch. And we'll extend the leg back and open the hips toward the side. And again, inhale. Exhale. And you're used to having your Ardha Chandrasana with your fingers helping your balance, I know. But look, you're doing it without the fingers and you are still alive. Okay, pause with this right leg super straight and big step back. Warrior 2, adjust so you have that heel to arch alignment. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, bend. 2 more times. So this pose is relatively easy compared to some of the other things that you've done and will do. So it's a great opportunity to practice zipping up through the low belly. Pubic bone rises. Let's lower the hands to the floor so we can step back, vinyasa or downward dog. Shake out the head. Okay, just step, walk, or jump, feet toward hands. Inhale when you get there. Fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Hands to prayer this time for the exhale. And we'll lift the left leg up. Inhale. And this time, flying pigeon for the exhale, ankle to thigh. Sit low, chest towards shin. We'll rise up again. Inhale, knee high. And exhale into your flying pigeon as low as you can go. Inhale to rise up. I know your right glute is working really hard to get you standing and squatting, but you'll be okay. Inhale, leg up. This time, let's step it back. Warrior one again. Arms up. And we'll keep the palms either together or in steeple mudra, and just bend the elbows so that your thumbs touch the back of your neck. And push your head into your forearms. Get the chin to rise a bit away from your chest. Good. And let's lower fingertips down. We'll launch the left leg up for an inhale, just a standing split, but don't go too crazy because it's still early. Exhale, curl into a little ball. Knees touch, head drops. Inhale, extend away. Bottom leg is straight. Exhale, curl in. Bottom leg is bent deeply. One more time. The next time that you're curling up, just lower your left foot to meet your right foot. And let's come all the way into a squat. The arms anywhere you need so that you can balance. And if you have any knee issues, don't be as low as I am. My screen has gone to something weird. It's back. Okay, here. Okay, let's come all the way up. Press to the floor, rise, and hands to prayer. We'll try the other side. Right knee in. Flying pigeon, flex the foot, chest toward shin. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Bend that left leg quite a lot. I know it hurts, so you don't want to, but try. One more time. Good. And we rise up and we step back for warrior one. Bend the elbows. Keep the elbows somewhat close together so that you actually have your forearms there to press into. And it'll be your elbows pointing up toward the ceiling, maybe even angling back a little bit. Okay, and fingertips down. Standing split, launch onto the left leg. Both legs as straight as you can be. Exhale, curl into a little ball. Both legs bend. Inhale, keep pushing through that left foot to get the leg straight. And exhale. On the flesh. One more time. That last time we'll wind up in a squat. Feet together, knees together. If I stay up here, it's like a Utkatasana variation. That's fine. As your knees and ankles and hips allow you, then you come lower. And Lisa, think of knees forward more. You'll end up with more stretch in the Achilles. Good. And let's straighten the legs, fold. Shake out the head. Inhale halfway up. And step her back, a step or jump back. I forgot a word there. Vinyasa or downward dog. Let's walk hands to feet. When you get there, reach for the big toes. Inhale, chest forward, belly in. Exhale, fold. Parsvakonasana. Remember that shoulder loop that we talked about much earlier, like when we were first sitting. So do that here. Then your shoulders will not be shrugged over by your ears. And you can either keep doing it in a big way or just do it once. You'll find your shoulder blades moving up toward your butt. And then you can just kind of keep it in your mind or do it in an imperceptible way. Okay, let's inhale for straight arms. Hands to the hips, exhale. And let's rise up. Inhale. And we'll just face the long edge of the mat. You can kind of decide which one you want forward based on your camera. So we'll bring our feet out like ballet first position. Instead of parallel, they're out. And just bend your knees a little bit so you feel them tracking over your middle toes. And you'll notice that your butt and your thighs are working to kind of scoot you under. And that's the same thing you would do with your front leg in Warrior 2. So let's re-straighten the legs and then re-bend them. And notice that the process of going from bent to straight, you have to do it more as you straighten the leg. And Carrie, move your shoulders back a little bit. You're kind of leaning here. Yeah, so keep your shoulders over your hips. Okay, so let's try that with our legs wide, like goddess pose wide. And decide where your feet are going to be based on how open can you get your knees. Because you still want your knees to track over like your second or third toe. So if I have my feet really turned out, but my knees are dropping in, that's not going to work. It's going to just put pressure on the knee. So you can always just move the feet to a gentler angle. So hands on hips, tailbone down. Try to straighten your legs fully. Keep dropping your tailbone, and you're going to feel your butt and your thighs scoop under. And let's just do that a few times. So it's all hip control. And I find it fun to work on, but you know, maybe later I'll text you and I'll complain that I'm in pain. That would be likely to happen. Okay. So just pay attention to how your thigh muscles are kind of wrapping underneath you. Let's slide our hands down to our inner thighs, lean forward, push your knees back. This is much easier than what you were just in. And just shift the weight a little bit side to side. Just getting into the hips a bit. Okay. And let's lift the chest up. We'll turn this into Warrior 2, so the feet wider. Now the right toes facing front. So that right leg still has to very dramatically scoop under you. And let's make this Parsvakonasana, either elbow on thigh like this or hand on the floor. But at no point do you lose the scooping of that right hip. So waistline back a little bit more. Good. And let's lower the hands to the inside of the right foot. Spin the right toes to face the left front edge of your mat and come into that little half squat thing where our left leg is straight. And this right knee is pushing back. Then hands or no hands, head over to the other side and get the left knee to push back. You can always sit on a block here and head over to the other side. This time we're going to add a bind around this right shin. So get your right shoulder inside of your knee. Reach your right arm out, get your thumb to face down. This is prep for every bind you'll ever do. Then your elbow will start to bend and your palm is going to face the ceiling. As your elbow bends around your shin, you'll wind up with your knuckles near your right hip. The left arm just flops around the back. So the left arm doesn't have too much to think about. That right shoulder has a lot to think about. Okay, let's unwind the shoulder. We'll come into Prasarita A. Parallel feet. Inhale, long back. Exhale, fold head down. Palms between the heels. Elbows in. Belly in. Quadriceps strong. Okay, inhale halfway up. Hands to hips, exhale, and let's rise up. Inhale, return to your goddess pose. So heels in, toes out. And again, decide where do your toes need to be in order to keep your knees, A, pressing back, and B, tracking over about the second toe. So hands can be anywhere you want. I don't know where I'm going to put mine just yet. I'm going to see how my balance feels. We're going to try to lift the heels off the ground and sit our butt a little bit lower. The key to this is that wrapping your hip and your butt, scooping underneath you. Take 2 more breaths. We just get the heels as high as we can. To get out of this, we'll lower the heels down. We'll keep pushing the knees back as we straighten the legs. Oh, Lordy. And let's head over to the left side, warrior 2, into Parsvakonasana. Whatever version you did on side 1. It's almost like now your right hip gets a little break while your left hip does not. This is a nice pose for working on the belly because it's real easy to forget. One more breath here. And we'll lower the hands to the big toe side of the foot so we can turn the left toes to face that corner of the mat and find our little half squat thing. Before we go into the bind, we'll transfer our sides just to practice the act of pushing down into the foot in order to rise up and around. The more you push down, the easier it is to get up and over. So we'll meet on this left side. Decide if you want to block underneath your butt. Lean forward enough to get your shoulder inside of your knee, and then start to wrap around. So the palm in front of you will face down, and then as it comes to the side, it's going to face up. So that by the time it lands on your hip, it's facing away from your body. The lower your butt drops, the easier it is to get the bind, because you need your thigh and your calf to be smooshed together. Otherwise, the arm is not long enough. Okay, let's slowly come out of there. We'll come into Prasarita D. Reach for the big toes. Inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Shoulder loop again. So if you do nothing, you'll notice that your shoulders just wind up next to your ears. If you can roll your shoulders back, your upper back muscles will start working. That is something that you need to have complete control over when you're inverted. Okay, next inhale, straighten the arms. Let's just release hands to the floor, walk toward the top of your mat, and either vinyasa or downward dog. Flip the right leg up high. Just circle the ankle a time or two. Articulating through the toes also. And go the other direction. Let's bring that foot forward to the hands. Actually, I lied. Let's bring it about 3/4 of the way forward to the hand. We'll lower that back heel. We're just going to straighten the front leg as we would for a Parsvakonasana. And we'll just stay here for a moment and try to steer our hips to square. So coming in and out of twisted triangle in just a moment. But right now, let's keep our left hand on the big toe side of the foot, either palm flat or on the fingertips. We're just going to inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right hand down. One more time like this. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right hand down. Bring your left hand to your right foot. Re-square your hips, and we'll try it 2 breaths like this. Right arm up, we twist, inhale. Exhale, untwist. One more time like this. Inhale. So we're trying to keep the hips square and stable. Exhale, untwist. Either repeat one of those versions or left hand pinky toe side of foot. 2 breaths from here. Inhale to twist there, so deeper twist. Exhale to untwist. You still want to keep yourself as square as possible. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, let's step the left leg further back, Anjaneasana. Hands to that right knee. Untuck the left toes. And we'll just hang out for a moment and get used to this for the hip flexors. So hands either down or stay where they are. We're just going to straighten the right leg, dig the heel into the floor, and bend it again, lower as far as you can. And if balance feels crazy, putting the fingers down will be A, helpful for balance, and B, maybe imitating your split more. This is more of a squeezing the thighs, scissoring the legs kind of work. Okay, the next time that we wind up with our knee bent, let's just step back to downward dog and lift the left leg up. Circle the ankle a few times. Go the other way. Okay. We'll bring the left foot about 3/4 of the way forward. Lower that back heel. The heels will roughly line up, and we square the hips. So we have to steer left hip back. When you're ready, right hand, big toe side of the foot. Inhale to twist. Exhale to untwist. One more time from there. The untwist gives you an opportunity to reset your hips in case they have gone awry. Let's move the right hand to the left foot or ankle. Try it again. Now without the hand on the ground, you might notice your thighs squeeze together more. Good, and then decide, can you move your hand to the pinky toe side of your foot? If the answer is no, it's not comfortable, just repeat one of the other ones we did. There's plenty of people that choose to never put their hand pinky toe side. Okay, and after that last breath, we'll meet in Anjaneasana. So you might ask, why are we doing these nonsense things? I will tell you, Nook wanted to do King Pigeon type stuff. So in order to do King Pigeon, your legs have to know how to scissor together in such a way that your arms are free to do other ridiculous things. So let's straighten that left leg and rebend it. So we learn how to press down into any pieces of us that are on the floor. And from that, we can control where our hips go and everything else. Next time that your left leg is bent, just step back, vinyasa or downward dog. Okay, right leg up high, inhale. Step forward to the hands, exhale. Ardha Chandra Chapasana. Shift the weight into the right leg. Left leg up, left arm up. Bend into the left leg, catch your foot. Start to kick into your hand. So remember all that goddess pose stuff. Getting your hip and your glute to scoop under you. That is what your right leg has to do here. If you're finding it difficult, just put your hand on a block or on a couch so that you don't have to be quite as bent forward. Good. And let's untwist, lower the hands, jump back with that right leg so that you wind up in downward dog with your left leg in the air. Inhale there, and then send the left leg forward so we're just on the other side. Shift into the left foot, lift the right leg, lift the right arm, bend the knee, catch your foot or ankle, and kick. The more you kick, the more you have to work your left hip. So you could always just not kick too hard. The result would be you're not going to open the shoulder as much, but it's way more fun to stay in the pose gently than to fall out of the pose aggressively. We've all fallen out of it. It doesn't really hurt, but it's not as fun. Okay, let's unravel, hands flat, jump the left foot back. Your right leg is still in the air. And step that foot forward to the hands. Shift the weight into the right foot. This time we'll keep our hips square. Bring your right hand to your left foot and kick. So it's a similar concept of kicking into your hand to get your heel up away from your foot and open your shoulder. One more breath here. Standing leg a little straighter if possible. Good. Gently release that left foot, hands flat. Jump the right foot back so you're in three-legged downward dog. And bring the left foot forward so that you can stand on your left foot, right leg up. Bend into that right knee. Grab hold of your foot. And kick. Carol, let's roll your left shoulder back more. Then your right hip can come down a bit. Yeah. And once the hip comes down, now your heel can go up higher. Yes. Left shoulder back a little more. Yes. Good. Let's release that foot. Hands flat. Jump the left foot back. Three-legged downward dog. Right leg is in the air. And step that foot forward to the hands. Warrior two. Oh, it's so easy in comparison. Okay, let's straighten that leg. Triangle pose, piece of cake after what you just did. For this one, let's extend that left arm over the ear. And we'll try to get more of a stretch through the waist, the left waist. One way I like to test myself in this pose is look up to the ceiling that's right above my face instead of out to the hand like we would in a Parsvakonasana. And I try to get that left arm to move out of the way so I can actually see the ceiling. Okay, let's inhale ourselves up from there and just bend into the knee for Anjaneasana, hands down. Left hand or elbow down. We'll reach the right hand for the back foot. A little twist, and we're going to pull the heel in. For right now, let's keep the right foot facing front. I know it's not as fun. Okay, no problems here. So let's keep our grip. We're just going to rise up and change hands for a Bhekasana grip, or just simply change hands. So now your left hand is holding your foot. And I'm gonna, because I have a shoulder thing, I'm gonna use my right hand to support me here. I'm gonna just hold the foot while I negotiate the hand. Okay. So in Bhekasana grip, instead of our heel going to our sitting bone, it goes just to the side of the hip. We'll take two more breaths. Square up. Carrie, bring your left shoulder forward. Yes. And your left ribs forward. Yes. Okay, let's let go of that and just step to downward dog so that we can do all of this on the other side. We'll just bring the left foot forward. Rise up for warrior two. Find your triangle. You could shorten your stance or not. And reach the right arm over the ear. Shoulder loop happens here also. So the shoulders are moving kind of back and down toward our butt, which will make you lean back a little bit more, which means the ball of your left foot has to push down. Okay, let's inhale ourselves up. Bend into the knee. Lower the right knee down. Take a sec to get used to it because it's about to get worse. So right now, when you're not doing anything, it's very easy to track your left toes over your left knee rather, over your toes. So be cognizant of that when you reach your left hand for your foot. Now you're making life more difficult. So it might be difficult to keep your knee in your mind. Keep squeezing that left knee in toward your right shoulder, so that it doesn't have the freedom to splay. Inner thighs are working. Good. All right, let's rise up, change hands. If you don't want full Bhekasana grip, you could have your toenails press into the back of your hand and the palm of your hand would then just face the back of your mat. There's actually entire schools of yoga that is the way they do it. So don't consider it as wrong or less than. Carry right ribs forward. Yes. Okay, good. Let's get out of there. Oh, Lordy. Downward dog or vinyasa. Okay. Let's come to our knees for a moment. Then to the elbows, measure it out. Interlace the fingers. We'll just come into a plank from here. Step the feet back. We'll try to find some stability through the shoulders, so we'll keep pushing the ground away from us. And then walk your feet back a little more. Good. And we'll just stare at our thumbs, basically. Let's bring the feet together. And we'll step one foot to the side and then bring it back again. And then the other leg, as far as you want it to go, and back again. So you can go 2 inches out, or it can go real far out. If you have a wall, of course, do not kick the wall. The next time you're bringing your foot in, let's walk our feet in so it becomes dolphin. We'll push into the edge of the hand and the wrist so that we keep lifting ourselves away from the floor. We can bring our chest then a little closer to our thighs, belly in. Okay, and let's lower down to the knees and just undo the hands, downward dog. Right leg up high, inhale. Let's go into pigeon, exhale. This is a downward facing pigeon for now. We'll try to bring our chest toward our shin bone. And of course, take that with a grain of salt. If you can bring your chest toward your shin, maybe one day your foot will go behind your head. Does not have to, but that's one of the gauges to whether or not you would be ready soon. Okay, let's rise up with no hands. Stay for a moment. Of course, if you need your hands, put them back down. Just try not to fall to the side. Okay, now allow yourself to fall to the side so you can swing your back leg around. For Ardha Matysendrasana, we'll put our right foot on the outside of the left knee. We'll bend the left leg so the heel is close to your right hip. And just make sure that this right foot is about halfway past your knee. Hug your knee to your left shoulder. Either stay like that or hook your arm. And you're pushing your knee now to the left. Regardless of what grip you take, you're pushing it to the side. And if you reach down for the foot, it will be inevitably pushed to the side. But that shouldn't hurt the elbow or the shoulder. It really doesn't change your shoulder position too much from when you just had your elbow bent. But let's unravel. Let's where we are from here. Have that face front again. Let's lean forward. We'll step back And we'll find just Anjaneasana, still that right leg in front. And if that makes no sense, just, somehow step back. Hey, we made it. Wow, I call them. All right, let's untuck the left toes and lift the knee an inch or so off the ground. This is just to strengthen your ankle and the foot a bit. If it hurts you, don't go so high. Okay, we'll lower that knee down again. Fingers down just so you can scoot your back knee in to line up with your right toes. And we'll lower down into an Eka Pada Supta Virasana. So we go very slow. Tuck the tailbone as you go. Then you wind up one day on the shoulders, at which point you can reach your arms overhead. So your knuckles are on the floor behind you. And think about scooping your pubic bone up a bit and dropping your lower ribs down. So it's a very strong pose. We are not relying on our flexibility here. I have no flexibility to rely on anyway, so every pose for me is a strong pose. Okay, let's slowly get out of here. Okay, so I am skipping arm balances just because I'm being good to my shoulder, but we're gonna approach Echapata Bakasana. Part of it I'll do with you and part of it you're on your own, but it's all the same work. So first let's just go here. Our left leg is bent back, our right sole of foot is on the floor. And let's just put our right knee in the armpit. Comme ça. No big deal, right? So your back is rounded here. You might not realize it because you're, distracted by other things, but you are. Let's make it a little more extreme. Let's tilt forward and put our hands down. Now our butt will lift up. Now, because we all have tiny little shoulders and big butts to varying degrees, instead of having our knee in our armpit, let's get our armpit toward our shin bone. So lean forward more, butt off the ground, and literally chop your shin in half with your right arm. Then place your hands, lean forward, get your right foot off the ground, and now practice pushing into your left toes to get your left knee up off the ground. Just like when we were in that lunge, you pushed into your toes. Same idea, just practice this. That's a lot of work for your shoulders, your arms, your core. When that becomes easy, that is when you start to drag your left knee in toward your chest. Keeping your toes on the ground. Literally, your abdominal muscles are going to pull your knee in. Keep gazing forward. And at some point, you will be pressing your shin into your arm enough to keep your hips up, to keep everything intact. Okay. Good. Let's get out of there and either vinyasa or don't. We'll take a few breaths in down dog before we do the other side. We have a lot to do on the other side. And Echapata Bakasana is very difficult, but the root to rise element is prevalent. Okay, left leg pigeon. And I start with my knee pretty bent, so it's like a non-flexible pigeon. And then I gauge how far back can I take my left knee today. And it turns out today pretty far back, so that my chest can go to my shin, but every day is different. Okay, so let's rise up. Ideally, you can stay there without hands, because then your leg muscles, your hips are working for you. And if we go to a king pigeon, you have to be able to stay because your arms will be busy. Okay, let's rock to the left hip, swing that right leg around. We'll find our Ardha Matysendrasana other side. So left foot will plump outside of right knee, bend the right knee, and get both sitting bones to the floor again, which might mean you have to sit on a block. And hug the knee to the right shoulder, or hook your arm. And if you're hooking your arm, it's tempting to just hook like this, because technically this is hooking the arm, but I have a big old gap right here. So from here, I would never be able to reach my foot. So the first step would be lean forward, get your armpit on your thigh. Then twist more. And then the reaching down is not such a big deal. The twist is a huge deal, however. Yeah, and it's the same in most of the binds. To get deep into it, you have to lean forward first. Okay, we'll slowly unravel from there. And we return to Anjaneasana. We just step on that left foot and let the right leg float back. And if that didn't work, just left leg is front, Anjaneasana. Push into the right toes and try to get your right knee off the ground. And this little exercise for that back leg, it helps in a lot of poses. We did it the other day to help us with Urdhva Dhanurasana. Okay, let's lower that knee down again, untuck the toes so that you can bounce that right knee forward and have a seat. Either staying here, this would be an Echapata Virasana, or Eka Pada Supta Virasana, laying down. Supta is laying down. And it's very obvious which is the tight side. On this side, my right knee is way popped up off the ground. Rarely is a human even. But regardless of how deep you're getting into it, you're going to try to get your front body a little shorter. So your hip bones and your lowest ribs moving toward one another so that your back can be long. Okay, and we'll somehow get out of there. Just prop yourself up, elbows and then hands. And pause for a moment now with your armpit on your knee. And it is totally possible to do your arm balance from here, but I have all this flesh that wiggles around and makes it slippy slidey, and I don't like that. It feels unstable. So I would recommend lean forward more, get your butt off the ground, and bisect your shin bone with your arm. Then the wiggle wobbles are not a factor so much. Hands down, left foot up, that's easy enough. Right knee up, not so easy. So maybe practice getting your right knee up. You're pushing into your right foot and your left shin is pushing into your arm. Over time, you can now start to drag your right knee in toward your chest. Curl into a little ball. Once you can tell me your phone number with your heel by your butt and your knee by your chest, we'll start to worry about extending the leg back. But you need to have some conscious thought, just pause in this little ball. Okay, and whenever you've had enough of trying such things, we'll meet in downward dog. Good, at least you just got a little excited there at the end. Okay, so right leg, with a right knee between the hands. We're going to go Gomukasana, Anusara style. So right knee forward, swing the left leg behind, and move your feet out of the way so you can sit on the floor. So you're not sitting on your feet. This is a very hip-based version. Yikes, huh? Okay, we're going to make it a little bit worse. I'm debating, do we want it a little worse or a lot worse? Let's go a lot worse. Okay, Gomukasana arms, left arm under, right arm over. And then, so in Gomukasana, you're pressing your head back, so keep doing that. Now lean forward. So we're gonna aim our chest toward our knee, but we're not gonna let our top arm make our head drop. So you're strengthening your neck quite a bit here. And of course, if your fingers don't touch, you can hold a strap or you can eliminate the arm portion. Okay, let's rise up and release the grip. And then we'll go for Ashtanga form A. So lean forward in order to get your butt off the ground again. Maybe redo your thighs a bit, and let's bring the legs together, feet together, and we'll sit on the heels. And we'll lean forward in order to interlace our fingers under the knee. And we'll try that shoulder loop thing to get our shoulders back, chest up. And we'll push our knee down into the hands in order to help us keep our chest up, keep our balance. Good, super fun, right? Okay, let's get out of there. Downward dog. Before we do the other side, let's bring our right foot to ankle to lower left thigh, so like a figure four pose, we can see it with our eyeballs. Walk the hands back toward the left leg, bend the left knee, so you're in a flying pigeon. Either stay here and aim your chest toward your shin, or twist and get your arm to your arch. The twist is one of those things like the bind, where if you get your elbow there, it's sort of good enough. But if you want to do anything fancy from there, you got to go higher on the arm. So you're going to try to get your armpit to your arch. And then if you want, you can find your arm balance. Right hand will be maybe 6 inches from your left foot. Left hand has to reach out so that your hands wind up the same distance they'd be in down dog or any other arm balance. The fingers face the same way as the feet. And look, your hands might be a little close together. Yeah. So you know, if you're doing an arm balance like Bhekasana, you know exactly where to put your hands. It's the same placement. It's just that they're off to the side. Let's try that one more time because it was a little bit all over the place. So flying pigeon, right leg on top. Right hand comes down, left hand has to reach out. And get your fingers to face the same way as your toes. And try to land your hands on the same plane. That will set you up for success. Yes. All right now. Dang. Glad we did that again. Woohoo. All right. So getting out of it, there's not really a graceful way. So let's meet in downward dog. If you have a fun way out, by all means do it. We'll try all of this on side 2. So we'll bring our left knee between the hands for Gomukasana Anusara style. So get the little pooches of fat at the top of the thigh, get them to cross each other so that you can get your legs further integrated into this hip stretch. Ooh, so first we figure out, do we need to sit on something? If you're leaning like this, the answer would be yes, sit on something. Or you can always make your feet go closer to your hips, so it's not quite as intense. Okay, Gomukasana arms if you choose. And as we start leaning forward, we keep our chin up so that we're not dropping our head. Just go as far forward as our hips will allow. If you can draw your belly in, you might be able to get your chest a little closer to that left knee. We'll rise up and we'll turn it into Anusara style Gomukasana A. So I lean forward again just to get the butt off the ground, bring the feet together. The toes will all face to the back of your mat now. I'll face this way so that you can see the feet in case that is of interest. And we lean forward to get our interlaced finger grip, and then we'll try to lift our chest up and back. Okay, and let's slowly get out of there. Vinyasa. Oh no. Oh yes. Vinyasa. Yes. Yes, yes. And then we find our figure 4. Left ankle to lower right thigh. Walk it back. Bend the right leg deeply. You'll find your chest near your shin. You could stay in this hip stretch forever. It's amazing. Or add the twist. You can draw your belly in as you're trying to slide your arm over your foot. You will get an extra inch. And in this pose, an inch goes a really long way. Potentially get your hand to the floor. Maybe your other hand also to the floor. Good. So that right hand has to reach out. And that foot has to step down firmly on the arm. That's going to keep your hips up. You're pushing into your arm with your foot. A bunch of monkeys. So if you feel like that went well, then meet me in downward dog. Otherwise, try it one more time. And we'll actually meet in down dog B on the forearms. And Anouk, make sure you keep that foot flexed. Yeah, get it a little higher up on the arm. I know, you're like gonna give me the finger in a second. Now bend that right elbow like a chaturanga. Almost. Seems like your elbows are resisting bending. They don't want to bend. Okay, they'll bend next time. Let's meet in down dog B. Let's bring the feet together so it's like we have one big foot. We'll lift the right leg up to the ceiling. And when we do that, we're going to try to keep our weight equal on both arms. You'll notice your right leg just went up. So now you're shifting your weight to your left forearm. Try not to do that. Try to keep both forearms equal. Now let's lower the right foot with both feet down. It's easy to keep the arms even. Then lift the left leg, trying to keep the evenness. And I know that you have trouble shifting or with shifting, because so do I. So it always has to be in our mind, equalizing our foundation. Okay, let's lower that left foot, straighten the arm, and walk the hands back to the feet. We'll bend into the knees and roll ourselves up. And we'll hold on to our strap for a moment. So I'm using my roommate's yoga mat. Mine's in my trunk. That means my strap is in my trunk, which means I'm going to use the dog leash. So let's stand on our right leg first. We're going to loop up our left foot. I'm going to use the handle of the leash. Very convenient. And we will lift our foot up. And let's just pause here for a moment. Get the strap kind of resting on your shoulder. Get your knee point down. And then remember earlier how I said make your front body shorter. That is going to be virtually impossible in this back bend, but we're still going to think about it. We're going to think of drawing in with the belly. Let's let the elbows lift up. And we'll start to walk our hands toward our feet. And if you can think of drawing the belly in, you will feel less strain in the back, maybe. You'll feel a little more in control of the pose. Let's meet again with our knee facing down. And let's keep everything the same except ditch your strap. So we'll still have our knee down and we'll still have our foot up. And now, oh my God, the hamstring is dying. Let's reach for our ankle with both hands and start to kick. So the chest opening is different now. Let's get the leg a little bit higher. You can lean forward a little bit more. Good. And then start to decrease the amount of kick. Get the knee to point down, pause, and lower the foot. Oh God, why did I make us do that? Now we have to do the other side. So we'll loop up that right strap, right foot, I should say, with the strap. And we'll throw the strap over the shoulder and we'll pause for a sec. So it's tempting to kind of be in this position, but doing this with your back is going to avoid your hip flexors. So lift your pubic bone up. Good. And start to take it toward your Natarajasana. Either milk that a little bit more. Seems like Carol can get another couple inches. When you're ready, let it go and pause with your knee down, heel up, and notice that you want to maybe stand like this with your butt out. Try to lift through the belly. Okay, we'll hold on to the ankle. We can flex that right foot and kick. And we'll try to get that heel up pretty high, open the shoulders. This is like a one-legged Dhanurasana in a standing balance. Good, and let's start to rise up. Pause again with the knees pointing down, belly in. Oh, and let it go. Okay. Yowzers. Let's reach up for an inhale. And fold forward, exhale. Let's walk into downward dog. Can't remember if you're at the back of your mat or not, so that takes care of that. Okay, let's bring the knees down, then chest and chin down. So from not quite tabletop, more like a kind of longer, almost modified plank. We'll drop our chest and our chin to the floor and we'll stay there. So our butt will be lifted. If it's too easy, walk your knees closer in toward your chest. If it's still too easy, interlace your fingers behind your back. Take 2 more breaths. I want to see what you have chosen. Okay, good. Your fingers are interlaced, let them go, support yourself, and just roll forward. Let's find our cobra or upward dog. And exhale for downward dog. Okay. Let us come to Veerasana on the shins. We did Eka Pada earlier. So this is Viparita, both legs. We'll lower down, we'll tuck our tailbone, and we'll lower down a little more. As far as you can go without feeling any pain in your knees. Keep pushing into your feet. This is not a relaxing pose. This is not a moment to just be. This is a push into your feet, get your pubic bone toward your belly button pose. Okay, and we'll slowly rise up. There was a girl I knew once who fell asleep in that pose because she was super bendy. Let's find our Pincha Mayurasana. Super bendy people have a really hard time in Pincha Mayurasana. So this is our moment to shine. We'll start in downward dog. We'll step one foot in. Remember that business about keeping your foundation even. When you lift one leg, you can't shift the weight of your forearms. So try pointing the toes. Squeeze the legs together. Okay, good. Come on down. So this is getting too easy. On Monday, we did lotus when we were up there. I think we have to start doing things when we're up there, because now you're just up there forever. Okay, let's lay on our backs. Starting with Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, we're going to take 3 back bends from our backs. Let's lift the hips, interlace the fingers under the back. Press down into your shoulders. Press down into your heels. Okay, let's release, come on down. Let's place our hands near the shoulders, Urdhva Dhanurasana, and we'll come up, inhale. You can always repeat the previous one. We're going to stay for a total of 5 breaths. That's already been 3, 4, and 5. We'll slowly come on down. And then you'll get to make a choice. Do one of those again, or Viparita Dandasana. We're going to lift our hips. We'll come to the top of the head, and we'll walk our hands toward our heels so that our elbows come down. Once you get your elbows either down or close to down, push more into your legs so it feels like your chest is going through your arms. And then you can maybe even get your head off the ground, but more importantly, you'll get your elbows heavier. If you're on your forearms, return to your palms, straighten your arms or the Dhanurasana, and let's all lower down to the shoulders and then to the back. Okay, let's bring the knees in, rock a little bit side to side. Let's bring the arms out either straight out to the side, or you can do goalpost arms, doesn't really matter. We're just going to drop the knees toward one side for an inhale, as far as you want to go, and exhale through center. Inhale over to the other side, keep the shoulders down, and exhale through center. Just one more time each side. Don't let your shoulders lift. Somehow sit up, any method that suits you. And let's meet in pigeon, right leg in front. We're gonna this time have our foot quite close to our left hip. And have your strap handy for the next couple minutes. Okay, so we're gonna try a no hands thing. We're just gonna squeeze our legs together so much that we rise, and then we'll let it go. Rise, and I don't know if you can see this, like maybe 4 inches here, and then we'll let it go. And just try that a few times, that action of squeezing in order to get you up. Okay, good. Let's change legs. I don't want you to get too fatigued on one side. So if you squeeze the thighs together, this left hip will rise up. You can square yourself, and then you kind of let it go and you drop down. So Anouk, don't drop so far to the side. Keep yourself square. She's laughing. She knew I was going to say that. Yeah, so it's still pigeon when you come down. It's just a lower pigeon. Yes, that is almost better. Okay, let's swing that right leg around again. And let's do the thing we did standing. We will use our strap in just a sec, but remember you held your ankle. So let's do this. I'm leaning forward just to get the grip, and then I'm going to kick, and now I'm upright. And I don't even have to work that hard for it. It's just that left leg work. From there, again, practice squeezing. You'll rise off the ground and then lower. And just a few times, just so you're developing the strength in that outer glute and in this inner thigh, so that when it comes time to have your hands completely occupied, you know how to save yourself from falling over. Okay, let's get out of there. We'll go over to the left side. Because when you're in king pigeon, if you fall over to the side, it's not comfortable. There's too much going on to allow a sloppy exit from king pigeon. Let's reach for our right ankle. And that's still true even if we're using straps. I'm going to definitely use a strap today for king pigeon. There are days that I might just use a sweat towel and walk all the way to the toes, but I ain't doing that today. Let's maybe do two more little lifts and lowers. Good, and then let that go. And we'll go onto the right side again. And Anouk, I know you had shoulder issues last week, so go very easy. Shoulders and everything else at our age takes forever to heal. So let's loop up our left leg, just like when you were standing in your Natarajasana. Let yourself be for a moment. And make sure you can find that belly strength. Make sure you can squeeze your legs enough so you don't fall to your right hip. And then start to walk your hands toward your foot. So really, everything needs to be set before you start doing this fancy stuff. Good. Then lift the chest a little more. Start to drop your head back toward your feet. And maybe if your head goes back, your elbows can come together. Your head gets out of the way of your elbows. Good. And let's slowly slip the strap away so that we don't kind of fall out of it on the exit, and then we'll change sides. That was very good. So all these pretty poses start with a whole lot of foundation work, which is not pretty or glamorous, but it is necessary. So we start with our pigeon, and we'll just bring our strap to our right shoulder. We'll hang out for a sec. We'll make sure we can stay up. So maybe you have to do a few of those little lifty things again to make sure you have the strength. You could always wedge something under your left hip if it feels sketchy. Good. And if you're bringing your head back, one day it's going to touch your toes. I can't remember if mine's ever touched my toes, but the head can definitely get out of the way enough to bring your elbows in. Good. And let's slowly get out of there. And let's meet in down dog B again. Natives are getting restless on the other side of this sheet. Okay. So let's try a few times. We're going to change our legs once we're up there. So you can decide to keep your legs straight and kind of go through splits, or you can do what we've done a few times, which is touch your toes to your inner knee and then slide it up. But you'll wind up with one leg being the up leg and the other leg being the down. I'm doing it with straight legs because then I feel my belly have to work more. And my belly takes every opportunity to not work. So I have to choose modalities that make it work. You decide how big your split is. Obviously, the bigger, the harder it will be to change sides. And look back up a little bit more from that wall. Yes, okay. Good, Carol, think about where your hips are when you're doing that. Try it again. So it's very fancy, but it really is just how can you stabilize your shoulders and hands and use your abdominals to control your legs. Okay, let's come down to our backs. We're going to do a little something and then we're going to try that again because I know that we can do better than that. My favorite meme is from this little Ashtanga meme factory. And it's this teacher saying, okay, do it again, but good this time. Let's lift the right leg up. And for right now, let's mush our back into the floor. So instead of a neutral spine like we sometimes do, let's go for an imprint on the mat. And keep that imprint as you lower your right foot out along the mat. And keep it again as you lift the right leg up. This time, externally rotate your foot and just bring your right leg out to the right about 12 inches. And bring it in again. Square yourself. And let's lift the left leg off the ground so it's in a tabletop shape. Keep imprinting your spine down and lower your right leg just as far as you can without letting your spine pop up. And lift your right leg again up. And turn your right leg again out to that external rotation. Just bring it to the right 12 inches or so and bring it in again. Okay, let's do all that with the left leg. Take a breath. If you think you can do all that with a neutral back, by all means try it like that. It's just going to be harder. Imprinting is a little bit easier to maybe control yourself. So left leg up. We'll just lower it to a spot where we know we can keep our back how it was when we started. Lift it up again. Externally rotate from your hip. Bring the leg out to the side without falling over, of course, and in again. Right leg will float to tabletop, and we'll just do the same things with the left leg. I have my fingertips on my lowest rib just to kind of remind me about all that. Externally rotate the left leg, drop it out, and bring it in. Okay. Let's bring both knees to the chest, hold on to the shin, lift your head and shoulders up. And just a few times, let's push our legs into our hands so we rise up more, and then release your legs so you come down again. And push yourself up a bit, stretching back, and then come down again. One more time, push yourself up. And this time, use a little bit of momentum and a little more leg strength and sit up. Okay, soles of the feet together. Inhale, knees drop open. Fold forward, exhale. Backbends. Okay, so we're going to do that same Pincha Mayurasana business with the legs scissoring. So we already know, because I saw your pinches before, and you were pushing down into your foundation. All this was good. Your regular pincha was good. So when you start to move your legs, you have to think about this part and contracting in the belly in order to get a leg to move up. So see what you can do with that. You're very used to the position of the back bend. So you're really going to have to think more about the bottom leg. And go very slow so that you can always fine-tune your balance. So Carrie, try to keep your legs a little straighter. And Lisa, for you, I think go with straight legs in this scissor aspect, because why not? Carol, go slow, no wall. Keep your legs straight, Miss Bloom, then it won't touch the wall. I think if you didn't have the wall there, you'd actually be able to do it. But the mental crutch, it is large. Okay. Good. So let's just meet in pigeon right leg in front. We're just going to do two more little things. Either for this first little thing, you're going to stay in pigeon, or you're going to turn it into Hanumanasana. You'll just take a few breaths in one or the other place. Actually feels good for a minute. Okay, let's change sides. Either pigeon or Hanuman. Ideally, you choose the same thing, but if you're injured on one side, maybe don't choose the same. I'm going to turn her screen off because she wants to know misbehave. She thinks I don't know. When I take class, I keep the screen off the whole time because I've never been able to. Okay. Let's meet in downward dog. We're just going to take one more inversion. This time attempting to bring the knees in toward the chest. And you've done this before. You've landed your headstands in child's pose a million times. So maybe you do that, headstand into child's pose, or you can go Pincha Mayurasana or Anjaneasana to lower down. I'm just going to take Bhekasana A, and I'll come up in a kind of normal way. And then for the descent, I'll just try to bring knees to chest and curl in. And have a conscious breath or a few breaths in the curl. Meet in child's pose. Carrie, if you can go that slow down, you can do a pincha without falling off the couch. Just saying. The strength is all there. Okay, let's slowly rise up and decide what final pose you need. I'm going to do a lotus with a wrap and fold forward because for me that feels like a nice seal. But anything would serve. All right, Carrie, I'll take that. Now we just have to get you there before you fall to the couch instead of coming back from the couch. That was good. And let's meet in Shavasana. Take a few more breaths here. Make your way up to sitting. Namaste.